Solo travel is the seed from which I have grown into the person I am today. And in this video, I'm going to share 5 ways that traveling by yourself can help you in your quest for personal growth. So check it out. Hi, I'm Leslie. I am a life coach based in Brisbane, Australia, which you may be able to tell from my accent is not my home country. And the story of how I came to live here for the last 10 years is one for another time. But what I'll tell you now is that it was a direct result of spending years exploring the world as a solo traveler. Now, I understand that the thought of traveling to another country, or even city or state, by yourself can be a little intimidating for some people. But making that leap and going on your own adventure can benefit you in such profound ways. So here are some reasons why you should consider traveling solo. Number 1, you don't have to wait to find a travel partner. If you commit to the decision to go somewhere by yourself, you can act on that plan immediately. You don't have to coordinate your schedule with someone so that you have the same period of time off from work, for example. And that's a great way to practice the skill of not letting other people's business or other people's lives feed your excuses for not taking actions on the things that you really want to do. You only have to find the time in your own schedule and make your own plans for what you think is going to be a fulfilling use of your time. And I think you can kind of sense a theme here. And if you're concerned that traveling without someone else means you won't have anyone to share the experience with, allow me to reassure you a bit with point number 2. You will have more opportunities to meet new people. One thing I've always loved about being a solo traveler is the kind of found families I've formed with other solo travelers. It's like we just have this way of finding each other in hostels or at events and places like that. And it's not just other solo travelers you'll meet. You may meet people who are traveling in pairs or in groups, and if you really click with these people, you may even decide to continue on some portion of your trip together. This picture from 2003 is a lovely illustration of this. This is Christian, David, me, and Andy from the US, Norway, the US, and England, respectively. We met in Vienna, Austria, in our hostel room. Well, we actually found David roaming the streets looking for somewhere to stay, and then we ended up traveling to Prague together the next day, even though I had just arrived from there not long before that. But we were having so much fun in Vienna together that I decided to go back to Prague with them. And then I kind of fell in love with David, and we ended up traveling to Switzerland together as a pair. So long story short, we ended up in a relationship, traveled back and forth across the world to see each other for a couple of years, and now we're still friends. Anyway, it's not just other travelers you'll meet either. Traveling solo is a great way to meet locals when you travel, which makes for a much less insular experience than what you would have if you had this constant travel companion to lean on every time you felt like talking to someone. And yeah, this can mean having to step out of your comfort zone a lot, which is something that you should practice regularly in your quest for growth. Now, on to the next point. Number 3, you can be totally flexible with your itinerary. Now, you may arrive in a place with a particular plan in mind for what you want to do there, but you also have complete freedom to change that plan from 1 minute to the next, because you don't constantly have to compromise with another person for every little decision. You can plan to go to that museum you read about, and then on your way there, maybe you stumble upon an amazing street festival or a lovely little cafe. You can literally go, "Oh, that looks interesting, and change direction without having to have a big conversation about it. Now, this is a great way to indulge your interests and your passions. Really indulge. You can learn so much about yourself doing this, and it's one of the ways that travel helps people find themselves. And speaking of flexibility and indulgence, that leads me to point number 4. You will have more possibilities for adventure. Planning an adventurous itinerary is one thing, but being completely open and available to change your plans can lead to some really amazing and potentially life-changing experiences. For example, that second trip to Prague I made in 2003 made me realize I wanted to spend a lot more time there. So a couple of years later, I went back there to study, and that kicked off a chain of events that led to a career that allowed me to travel more and live in other countries, and eventually moved to Vietnam, which is where I lived before I moved to Australia. And it was because I was completely open to noticing the places and the people around me, because I didn't have another person with me making demands on my attention. And that's a really good way to immerse yourself in what's going on around you. So that brings us to our final point for now. Number 5. You will experience the satisfaction overcoming challenges on your own. Any trip you go on will present some challenges, even if they're small ones. That may involve having to find your way around using public transport or overcoming language barriers. It can be all kinds of different things. Like, if you are me, maybe you get into the wrong minibus somewhere on the Arabian Peninsula and end up nearly getting abducted. But then you don't get abducted because you were clever enough to recognize that something dodgy was happening and got the heck out of that situation. Things like that. Any challenge that you overcome while you're out adventuring in faraway lands will be like another coin in your piggy bank that will enhance your self-confidence. All right, so this kind of topic could easily become a multi-part series, but I'll leave the list there for now to keep the scope of this video quite narrow and not too overwhelming. I don't want to give you too much to chew on all at once. So, if there's some place in the world that you want to go to but you haven't just because you don't have anyone to go with, it's probably time to pack your bags and go. You don't have to wait for one of your friends to become available. You don't have to join a big group tour with a strict itinerary and forced activities. You really can just book a ticket, get any paperwork you may need, maybe get some shots if you have to, and then just go. Book some accommodation or activities in advance if you want, or just get there and see what you find. Traveling is a great way to expand your horizons, gain new perspectives, and maybe challenge some of your sensibilities in a way that can really help you grow as a person. Solo travel can do that to an even more personally meaningful degree. So, if you want to discuss any of this with me, you know what to do. You can leave me a comment, message me through my social media accounts, and if you think you'd like to attempt solo travel but need more confidence or motivation to do so, you can book a free consultation with me through my website, leslievcoaching.com. All right, so I want you to find some place that you've always dreamed of going and start making plans to go there. I might ask you about it later. All right, have an awesome week, and I'll see you next time.